morning.
Hi.
So, first, do you know about what's fish bombing?
Yeah, I sort of heard of fish bombing.
Okay, it's actually activities that's recently increasing in East Malaysia, such as Sarawak and Sabah. It's an act of using dynamite to cause shockwave to stun the fish and caught them using that way. It's actually an illegal activities that's committed by some fishermen.
Alright.
So regarding to that, in your opinion, do you think that fish bombing will cause adverse effect to the environment?
Well, I think definitely it will cause some effect on the ecosystem, whereby this fish bombing will destroy the fish breeding ground and causes impact on the next generation of the offspring. Yeah.
So what do you think about pollution? Do fish bombing actually cause pollution?
I'm not really sure about the substance they used for fish bombing, but I assume it's going to be like some chemicals or some sort of things like that, and
Yes.
definitely will cause some water pollution.
So lastly, do you think that fish bombing will cause irreversible effect to the coral reef?
Yes, I think this fish bombing activity will cause a snowballing effect, whereby the breeding will be much more difficult after the impact.
Thank you for your cooperation. So, good morning.
Good morning.
So, do you know about fish bombing that's happening in East Malaysia?
Frankly speaking, I'm not very know about this issue, but I see some news regarding about this.
So, what news do you heard about that's regarding to fish bombing?
Usually the native people use the dynamite to blast the fish. This is what I heard. But they one in not in East Malaysia, they one in Peninsula,
Oh, okay.
in the riverside.
So, for fish bombing, are you aware that they're using dynamite to actually stun or kill the fish in order to catch them?
I'm not sure what kind of material they use to splash the fish.
Okay.
But I am very surprised they know the technique to make the explosion.
Oh yeah.
This is come to my surprise, because they are native people. How they have this type of knowledge?
Okay. Let me ask one more question. Do you know how dangerous? Do you have an idea of how dangerous this dynamite can be?
Not that I know, but if they can call dynamite, mean they can kill people. To my understand. So we should stop it.
Yeah, you are correct. In fact, there's cases that divers is actually being killed upon from the dynamites that used in the fish bombing. So thank you for your cooperation.
Alright, so for today's interview topic is about fish bombing. The first question for you, Ileana, is do you know about fish bombing?
Hi, my name is Ileana and I'm going to answer some questions. Yes, I do know about fish bombing because it is actually quite common here in Malaysia, especially in Sabah.
Alright, so for the second question is what kind of action can government do to prevent this kind of issue within the area or to control the whole situation?
Firstly, what they can do is to increase the price of the substances that can create this bomb. From my research, it is actually quite cheap to create a handmade bomb, as to only 50 ringgit per bottle. And if we can get the government to increase the substances price, they can think twice about making the bomb in the first place. The second thing that they can do is to monitor the area that has high fish bomb occurrence. What they can do is they can set up CCTVs or regular checkups by authorities so that fish bombers can think twice about going to the place and do their illegal activities. They can also involve the public and to have them report whenever they know a fish bomb activities is occurring. The third thing they can do is to create a fine or proper punishment for those that has responsible for fish bombings. What they can do is set up a high fine or minimum jail time so that they will be scared and they will not repeat the activities again. That is all from me. Thank you.
Hi Tianwei, welcome. Thank you for doing this interview. And so my very first question is, because today's topic is talking about fish bombing, so the first question is a very common question is, do you know about fish bombing?
Hi everyone, long time no see. I'm Tianwei, invited by Yvonne because she said she need to do this assignment, so she asked me to do some question. Everything I answer is 100% scripted. Fish bomb. I've heard of it, like using explosives to stun or kill schools of fish for easy collection. But I wonder, right, if you use the dynamite to boom the school of fish, won't they become like pieces? They won't keep one piece, right? Then how are you gonna sell it? People are not gonna buy like yoksui, you know, like pieces of like unethical ma, because instead of like catching a whole group of fish, you bomb them, and then it actually disrupted the whole community, the environment too, because the sound wave things that affects the other, I don't know, so it's like unethical. Like fish bombing is basically, it's like instead of catching the whole school of fish, you bomb the whole community.
Alright, thank you for answering the first question. So the second question is, what can we as a student or citizen or professional to do to raise the awareness about this issue? So for you, you consider is a professional because you already graduate, have a proper job. So this question is quite depends on personal opinion. Yeah. So what do you think you can do to raise this kind of awareness to all the people around us?
I have noticed that the non-profit organization like WWF and UNICEF, they do roadshow or just a small roadshow lah, basically. They just ask donations from people, and then they explain to them what's the current latest issue that you need to be aware of. And you see, if you didn't successfully get donations from the people who walk by, it's okay. At least they deliver the message, the issues to the people. In this special pandemic time, social media is like a really, really useful place or stage for you to raise awareness. Use one trendy hashtag or do one special series of trendy thing, ask people to take picture or do videos, and then people say that, wow, this one look very fun, and then they would follow, like Uncle Roger or anything lah, just anything. Or you can even make a song that is about fish bombing, and then if it rhymes and it hits and then it get viral, awareness raised. Yeah.
Hi Zainab.
Hi Farhia.
So today we're gonna discuss about fish bombing. Do you have any idea what is fish bombing is?
I think I have quite some ideas about fish bombing. It's like throwing, it's a fishing method, is it? Throwing a bomb to the water?
Yeah, the fisherman. Yeah, it's basically the fisherman is using this destructive bomb, and it throws the water, which the shake wave is exploded to the fish, and which causes the fish to die. And this bomb not only kills the fish, but it also targets the surrounding life of marine life like coral reefs, which takes years to recover. So my question is, what kind of a method people need to prevent this fish bombing?
Well, I think if we look from a fisherman perspective, it's quite quick process and very cheap for them, and it yields a large catch for them.
In a short period of time.
Yeah, and it looks very profitable for them, so it's completely natural for them to go with a process that doesn't need much energy from them. So I was thinking, why not completely stop people from buying fish that have been dynamited?
Yeah, people need to ban them buying from the fishermen.
Yeah, the government created such awareness that people completely not buy from them. I feel like it's quite an effective way to stop fishermen from killing coral reefs and marine life in an unsustainable manner, since it's completely unprofitable for them.
Yeah.
And also, like the government can also provide training, and they can also learn different methods to fish.
Yeah, other techniques.
Yes. Also, they can be provided as scientific materials in local universities and enforcement agencies to support the marine conservation.
Oh, that's quite a very good idea. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Farhia.
Hi, Irvin.
Hi, Faria.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm good. So today we're gonna discuss about fish bombing.
Okay, fish bombing.
So what do you think fish bombing? How does it affect the coral reefs?
Okay, fish bombing. I think maybe I'm not really sure what fish bombing is, but if I had to give a guess, I'd say fish bombing is maybe using explosives like dynamite.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay, I'm right. Okay, so using dynamite to blow up fish, instead of using like supposing a fishing rod or something to catch fish. So I think, yeah, that's what people use using dynamite. Now you said, how does it affect the coral reefs, right?
Yes.
So I think it might also damage the coral reef, because although you're killing the fish, it might, the explosive is very large, so it might also damage the coral reef and cause it to break down. And also it might harm the other organisms living there. For example, like snails or other starfish, and
Yes.
other animals living there. So it's, yeah, that's what I think.
So do you think that fish bombing should be allowed?
Definitely not. I don't think it's a very humane way of killing fish, and plus there are much better, more effective ways of killing fish, like capturing fish opposed to fish bombing.
Yeah. There is one country that use a lot of fish bombing is Indonesia.
Okay.
So I think it should be banned.
Yeah, definitely. Not a lot of countries should use fish bombing, because it might kill a lot of fish at the same time, but it also can damage the environment, and that is very harmful in the long run, because we need to save the environment.
We need to
important.
save the environment and the coral reefs and the biodiversity.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No problem, Faria.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, okay. Do you know that fish bombing exists in East Malaysia?
No.
Do you have a rough idea what is fish bombing?
I think for me, fish bombing is like where fishermen they insert explosives or bomb into the sea to acquire a huge amount of fish at one go.
Actually, you're right. Fish bombing involves the use of explosive that cause shockwave, which then will kill or stun the fish. Fish bombing is an illegal practice and is extremely dangerous to the ecosystem and the fisherman itself. Despite that, activities of fish bombing in East Malaysia is still increasing. Therefore, why do you think that fishermen choose to involve in this behavior such as fish bombing?
I think fishermen chose this behavior is because that by doing fish bombing, it helps them to save time and energy, because they can obtain a huge lump sum of fish at one time.
Actually, you are right also, but there's a few factors that cause fishermen to choose to involve in this behavior. Firstly, it's like you said, it's quick, simple, and fishermen can get a large catch in a short period of time. Secondly, it's cheap to produce a homemade bomb, which only costs 15 ringgit per bottle. It's enabled the fishermen to get a large catch. Lastly, is that due to the large open sea in East Malaysia, the fishermen know that they can escape from the authorities due to the shortage of marine enforcer. Alright, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi.
Yeah, I would like to ask you, are you aware about fish bombing in East Malaysia?
No.
Okay, it's alright. Okay, fish bombing is an illegal fishing technique that involves the usage of dynamites that will be thrown into the open sea to obtain fishes. Okay, and despite the danger of fish bombing, a lot of fishermen in East Malaysia
are involved in fish bombing, are still involving in fish bombing. Okay, for the next question, I would like to ask you, do you think that it is possible to convince fishermen to refrain from techniques such as fish bombing?
I think it is possible but very difficult
Why do you think it's difficult?
because they are so used to such technique that they may not want to change.
Yeah, true, but actually, yeah, like you said, it is possible, but it takes a long time. Okay, so like I will give you a few suggestions that I got a thought of it.
Okay.
So first of all, I think the government should take initiative, like banning of the ingredients of the dynamites, because most of the dynamites are homemade. So if the government take strict regulation on like some of the main ingredient like ammonium nitrate, to give strict regulation on who can purchase it, so like the small scale fishermen would not get to buy the ingredients.
Hello. So today I'll be interviewing a university level student who is studying psychology. And now I'll allow him to introduce himself.
Yes, thank you, Adam. My name is Matthew Chan, and I'm currently studying psychology at Monash University. This is my third year, and I'm currently residing in Melbourne.
All right, so Matt, to start off, are you aware about fish bombing in East Malaysia, most particularly in Sabah?
No, in fact, I've never even heard of the terminology fish bombing.
All right, so in layman's terms, fish bombing is basically fishing, but using bombs. These bombs are either homemade or commercially grade bombs, and the damages these bombs cause to the ecosystem is quite damaging.
Okay. So, to what extent does this fish bombing affect the ecosystem?
So the blast of a general fish bomb can go up to about 20 meters in radius, both vertically and horizontally, both damaging corals and reefs. And by damaging these corals and reefs, it actually destroys homes for these fishes and other organisms, thereby destroying the life cycle, the food web inside that area.
Makes sense, makes sense. So, is fish bombing often only practiced in Malaysia and Asia, or are there any other countries that often practices these illegal actions?
So in general, this fish bombing does also occur in Indonesia and also some parts of the Western countries, of which I have no recollection at the moment.
All right. Okay.
All right. So the next question will be, what do you think about fish bombing cases in East Malaysia?
To be honest, I don't think I've ever heard of any cases of it, because I always thought fishing was a sort of like traditional methods where people would be using nets and all those traditional fishing methods. But yeah, fish bombing is absolutely new for me. So yeah.
All right. So just for an example, I will give you a relatively recent case. This happened around July 22nd of this last year. Sorry.
Okay.
So this case was founded by one of the police department in Sabah, Kota Kinabalu, to be more precise.
Okay.
And he said he encountered fish bombing in he can encounter fish bombing in any of the states. But for this day, he found the bomb that was used were mixed with fertilizer and kerosene in a bottle and then ignited with a detonator and a fuse. So from these materials itself, you can hear it's very easy to make these explosive bombs.
Okay. So from the sound of it, it seems like it's relatively common nowadays in Malaysia. Am I right?
Yes, it's quite common. In fact, it's happening even this year.
Okay. Cool.
Cool with you. So that's all the questions I have for this interview. But
All
thank
right.
you for your time and hope you stay safe in this COVID situation.
All right. Thank you, brother. You too. You too.
Hi, so do you know what fish bombing is?
I have little knowledge on this, but I think it's when fishermen throw bombs into the ocean to kill fish.
Right, so just to be bit more specific, it is The use of a homemade bomb, usually made using fertilizer and kerosene, that will send out a shockwave that kills or stuns the fish, then fishermen will catch them. So, knowing this, did you know that this is happening in East Malaysia right now?
No, I did not.
So this fish bombing, it also not only affects the fish, but it also affects the surrounding area, because a typical explosion can reach 20 feet in diameter. This also destroys the corals and also kills other species such as dugongs and dolphins. Knowing this, what do you think of fish bombing now?
I think it's horrible to the ecosystem and to the fish living there, and I don't think it's fair. But I can see why fishermen would do it, because it would be easier to collect fish, obviously. But I think there's more cons to it than there are pros. Yeah.
Can you give me an example of what you think these pros and cons are?
Pros such as economically wise, I guess it's more sufficient for them to collect fish faster, so they can sell more fish and they get more income. So good on them. And the cons are the fish. I don't think if they do bombing, then there's more chemicals in the ocean, and that's not okay. And the environment for the fish, it won't be livable anymore, and it will be hard for future generations to collect fish again. And yeah.
Alright, thank you for your time.